What if the thing slowing your leadership is not complexity, but the ego you protect when pressure rises? Repeating old patterns while calling it leadership. This conversation challenges that thought clearly and with courage. To choose effectiveness over ego. With Miriam Herzberg, founder of Morgenwerk and the leadership advisor known for her sharp perspective shifts and confronting unspoken dynamics, you will see how congruence creates real impact instead of reaction. My name is Arjan Visser, human-centered futurist and your host. Welcome, Miriam, to the Alt Dialogue.
Wonderful to be here.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation after years of exchanges of ideas.
Exactly. In different settings we have met. And I feel very honored that you asked me to have this conversation with you. And it's a wonderful opportunity for me to do something new. This is a first timer, so bear with me.
It will not be a problem. And you already you launched your new business, your next business in a way, Morgenwerk, recently, starting at the April 1st, and that was a leap outside of comfort. So my first question is, what did you see clearly in that moment? What did you consciously choose not to look at, and what did you decide to do anyway, despite of what you didn't want to repeat?
Well, I think if you make changes in your life, a lot of people tend to think that we only change because we go away from something. We want to leave a situation. But with Morgenwerk, this wasn't the case for me. I really just wanted to move forward, to be even more able to do what I think is the right thing, to take my own decisions. And yeah, I was partner in the company I was in before, so I could do that, but I don't want to make any compromises anymore. I I don't want to excuse myself for anything anymore. Um, so I thought, maybe the last time, you never know, but let's try this once more. I want to challenge myself once again, think about my brand, think about what I really, really want to offer to my customers and clients. Um, and that means, yeah, maybe taking some uncertainties, anxiety. In March, I woke up with a lot of anxiety every day. Um, In April, it became quieter, luckily in the morning. But yeah, uncertainty, isn't it? It's a career path that you never know 100% sure. Will it be successful? Actually, but I know it will. You never know, but I know, because this is what I feel. This is what I want to do. It's what I'm good at.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah, turning anxiety, uncertainty into a deeper awareness of that that you know,
Yeah.
and at the other end, your head doesn't know. So was there a non-negotiable that you really had to protect in that whole process?
Well, actually, when I was negotiating leaving Vooraan, where I was before, there were a lot of things that I wanted to take with me. I kept thinking, oh, I need to take this, the blogs that I wrote, and the workshops that I created, and at some point, I felt, no, I need to let go of that. It's still me. It's part of me. I've done that, but I need to let go of what was to make space for new things. All those things are in my backpack anyway. I don't need to have them in paper. Oh, I did. I must be honest. I took my clients. I took the work that I was doing with my clients. So but that is moving forward, isn't it? It's not. Um, but the things I've shaped so far, it's okay. So that was important, I think, is a real new start, but building on what is in my backpack. Instead of having it all around me and looking at it, oh, look what I've done. It's there and I trust on it, but I don't need to use it all the time.
Well, it is actually, it is the journey, the authentic leadership transformation journey you're just describing. And it's the journey of you becoming, taking with you um, who you are and what you have brought forth in the past. And then the other way, letting go the format and the structure, trusting that it will be part of the journey, but open for a new way, a new format, a new how. And I trust that the pressure was real, but you had the drive to go forward.
Yes.
So, and in your focus in our pre-talk, the thing that stood out is that you always focus on effectiveness and
Mm-hmm.
actually put that in a way in a tension that I would bring together as that it's effectiveness over the ego,
Mm-hmm.
staying grounded, but also shifting your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, I said I would do it in German, so I'll try it. You know, you call yourself a perspectivism, but
Yeah.
always struggle speaking English, combining it with my German, but you are a perspective shifter.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is like, what do you notice when you meet a leader, maybe for the first time, but especially in the first 20 minutes, that they that the leader usually can't see themselves? And how do you discern that? And how do you decide to name it and help that leader? Because I guess you confront the leader with something that hidden for them.
Um, so what I do, I listen and watch people very carefully for a while, 20 minutes or longer or whatever, and I look where the energy goes. Um, where do they try to hold control in their story? Where do they try to show control, but I feel there's no control there? You know, it's like holding on to something that they want or think is the right thing, but they can't. Um, do they finger point at other people to find a solution for their problem? I think that is a clear sign that there is a lack in leadership, or at least there is a potential to grow. Let's call it that way. Um, do they take full responsibility for the work they do, for the people they work with, and do they do that with a positive attitude? Um, people don't ask me when things are going right. No, and let's talk to Miriam and have a coffee. Yeah, that's nice, but there's always something behind it. They want something, and very soon that comes on the table. And whether I immediately point it out to them depends a bit on the circumstances. It's not always the right moment. Maybe it takes a little bit more time. It takes some more questions. It takes building trust before I point out where the pain is. But they will hear it. Yeah, I will be honest with them. That's what I think. That's what I do. Uh, Putting different perspectives in front of them. So it's not just a clear mirror. It's a mirror with different sides from different angles. And yeah, they work with me, so they want to see these different sides. That's what I assume. That's what I think they ask me for.
Was there a clear moment in your own leadership where you were seeing things wrong and only realized that maybe even when it was almost too late that you were seeing it wrong? And what did you do differently once you saw it?
The funny thing is, what I was seeing wrong wasn't the situation. or the problem. What I was seeing wrong was my own role, what I had to do in the situation. So I used to be in my early leadership years, I used to hold control. I loved control. I wanted to be the person that had the overview, that knew what was to do, and I could tell that to people. And the worst thing could be that people could think that I would be uncertain or incapable. That was my biggest fear, that someone could think, oh, she's actually not that good, or she's not in the right spot to be our leader. That was my biggest fear, I think. Yeah.
So, did you realize this too late or years afterwards or
Well, too late. I don't think too late for the people I led. I've always been a good leader, but for me, it costs a lot of energy. I think I was at the point of not being able anymore to hold control on everything. And the funny thing is, um, it was actually my, at some point, leader, my boss, that I held really, really high. I thought he was a wonderful manager, and he was very well respected throughout the whole company. Um, and we were in a project together, which was a big project, and the whole world was against us, which really was the case. And he made a major mistake, really a costly mistake as well. Um, And I thought, oh my God, this is going to cost a project, da, 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 da. I was in full worries. And he looked at me and he said, oh, well, shit happens. Let's move on. The funny thing for me at that point was that I didn't only see him as a human, I saw his humanity at that point. But I also thought he did that with an authority and with a certainty about himself and about the project. He wasn't questioning himself. He wasn't questioning our project. It was just a mistake. That was it. He could let go. And something happened in me where I thought, aha, okay. So I'm allowed to make fuck ups, to really make big mistakes, and it's okay. I don't need to have this control all the time. And to be allowed by your manager in that way to let go, because that's what it is, isn't it? To try more and go further and then learn from what happens is that was really formed me. I think that was one of the best things that could happen to me. Just let go of this continuous control.
I think it's a great example. And I think it was a radical shift.
Yeah.
What I recognize in your story is a radical shift of, I would nearly say, like choosing maturity over ego, appearance, expression, external validation,
Yeah.
and choosing that maturity over ego when the pressure rises. A big mistake with
Mhm.
with consequences that needed to be carried, needed to be dealt with. Um, in a way, an uncomfortable truth.
Yeah.
So, if you would summarize, what does it look like to choose maturity over ego when the pressure rises? The pressures get really real.
Mhm. Well, it's the word you use, to be uncomfortable. I think to allow yourself to be uncomfortable in my life, comfort has very rarely been what I have chosen. Control, yes, but comfort, no. Um, I've always felt if something was wrong or I didn't like it, I need to fight it. So in the fight, flight, accept role, I'm not an acceptor, not at all. I'm a fighter. I always felt you need to do that, and that's what it feels to become uncomfortable. Say the things in the room that everyone thinks and no one says them. And to then take the consequences of that action, I think that to me is being mature. So in my case, I've worked for different organizations, and at some, I've said my thing. I've tried to change things, and if it didn't work, I decided to leave. Rather than being fired, honestly, I've always decided to leave if I felt, okay, this is against my inner value. I don't want to be part of this anymore. And that is uncomfortable because you give up a lot of certainty. You've built up things. People have thought about you when you leave. But that's for me, not for everyone. That's for me what I need to do when the pressure gets high. I need to fight. I need to make changes if possible. And of course, very often it happens. You can make changes, luckily. And if not, I'll take the consequences and leave. Yeah.
So it's that human layer that is underneath the strategy, the processes, the procedures, the vision. It's that underlying human layer where fear, denial, assumptions, uncomfortable,
Mhm.
uncertainty,
Mhm.
um, vulnerability all happen and work together. And I think a great example, if it doesn't align with what matters to me, and then you need to confront that
Yeah.
and move on,
Yeah.
because actually that moving on is moving forward,
Yeah.
because else you will be drained back.
Exactly.
So when did you realize that people operate fundamentally from different value systems and that it is the real issue beneath the surface conflict?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you work with teams and if you work with people, as I've done my whole life, at some point you start to recognize that a team is fighting or people are fighting with each other about the right solution for a problem. And and if you're a bit of a bystander, you think, well, actually both solutions would work, but they fight. The thing is, they don't fight about the solution. They fight about what they think is important in their work. So maybe you and I are working together, and we have a little problem, and your solution proposal would be, okay, we just make a swift there, da, 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 da. We can do that fast, and then we'll see how it works out. And my solution would be, no, we need to first have a good look at the problem and where it comes from or where it originates. And then we make a plan, and then we find the right people, and then we uh, will do the plan, and the solution will be perfect. That's not really me, but that could be, and we could fight over what would be the right solution there. But actually, what we talk about is that for you, you want a fast solution. You want to move on. That's how you do your things. And me, I want certainty. I want things to be perfect and to be clear and not make mistakes. In this example, um, maybe both our solutions are right, but we find different things important in our work. And once you see that's what it's about, you cannot unsee it.
Does that mean that that in this example that they are rather protecting their own comfort than that they are fighting for the credits of the chosen solution?
I think one side can be comfort, but it is also that within our value system, we tend to self hug. We think that what we feel is important is better than what you think is important than the other thing. That's how we we develop through the years, through experience, and we think what I think is right, which it's better. So it's not only comfort, it's really thinking my thoughts are better. And if you would be a bit more like me, you would be happier or you would be better. And once you understand that this is not the case, this is just a different way of valuing things in life, deciding what matters on you, and you can discuss that, then you get a different language you talk together, because values are not set in stone. We shift values through life. I mean, we develop. There are moments in life where we find family and belonging very important, and there are moments in life where we say, "Well, no, now it's about me and about my development." Or there are moments in life where I want to belong very much, or where rules are very important to me to become the next better person I want to be. And other times where you think, oh, all these rules are keeping me small. I need freedom. So values aren't set in stone, and you need to find a way to talk about values, and then you will find the solutions.
What comes to mind is that we have our perception of reality.
Yeah.
And in a way, we want to protect that reality
Yeah.
because it's our anchor point
Yeah.
that in a way validates everything we think, do, and want.
Yeah.
And then when our perception is challenged because someone else looks at the same thing from another end,
Exactly.
then we lose our anchor, we lose our foundation, we sink in a way.
Yeah.
So what? But that's not true. You know, it's not. But it's. I think it happens a lot that we are so afraid to let go our anchor,
Mhm.
to look at our own foundation
Yeah.
below what we assume that is the truth.
Yeah.
So what is the deeper reason that you see in teams that in a way it's a limited idea they're entertaining, that their anchor cannot go. But when they let go, they must realize it wasn't that of a big deal. S- So why?
I think people very often don't even understand that this is their anchor, and what it is. So, firstly, to realize, aha, this is me finding this important, is step one, and then being able to talk to other people about that. And yeah, then I need to be vulnerable every now and then, because then that's the first step to understanding my reality is not the reality, is not one and only way of looking at things. I've lost your question. I'm sorry. I don't know whether I answered it.
Well, that doesn't matter. But I mean, it's a valid point. You know that we learn that the riches of being in a team is the multiple perspectives,
Yes.
and that real diversity happens when we are open for the other people, their perspective, use it to trigger and challenge our own perspective for the and actually for the biggest reason of learning ourselves and not get stuck or anchored, which keeps us pulling back into our own funnel.
Yeah, it's true. And it's actually not getting stuck in this wrong or right. I am wrong or I am right. I am, and it's good the way I am. And what I think is valuable has always value, but it's not the only valuable thing in the room. It's not more valuable than yours. So then if we find that in teams, um I work a lot with the 9 levels of value system, where you measure these values and then you put them on the table, and you can make people talk about, aha, now I understand why you wanted this fast solution, Arjen. do you understand why I needed a slower solution because I feel insecure? And then you can talk about, aha, maybe there's a compromise, or maybe there's a new solution, one we didn't think of, that, yeah, it works for us both. We feel safe, we're happy, and it's better this way. Or maybe I can even say, okay, I see your thing. Okay, maybe I allow myself to let loose control. I don't need to have it perfect. I go with your solution. Let's try something new. I think that is when the added values of teamwork comes in.
Yeah. It's an exchange from judgment to discerning
Yeah,
value, direction,
yeah,
growth.
yeah,
And the starting point is of judgment is that I know, and discernment is together we start to understand.
yeah.
So when you're still in the early phase of your new entrepreneurial journey,
Mm-hmm.
and in that, in the first phase, the responsibility of Morgenwerk fully sits
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Yeah.
And how do you actively choose to shape your business in such a way that it's not reacting to circumstances or even to demand, but it is actually shaped in such a way that it accelerates you becoming more of you?
Yeah. Well, the name Morgenwerk means tomorrow begins now. And this is not, I've not chosen that as a tagline. This is something I need to remind myself of every day. And this is something I want to do in my work with the clients, or it's actually what I've always been doing. And I've now realized that this is the center of what I do with people. It's when I want to prepare myself for tomorrow, and I don't know what tomorrow looks like, what can I do myself to have an impact? And we talked about um, oh God, my lost uh, the the ego taking over in a lot of work. And what I think is important in my work, for me, for decisions, but also in for clients, is to start thinking of what is the effect I have on the world. So, what is the effect with Morgenwerk that I want to have? And I need to ask that question myself every day. So that's what I need to let go of, is just doing things for fun, or wanting to be liked, or having quick successes, or choosing money over real effect, real impact, really doing something that makes the world a little better. I know it sounds very naive, but it's what thrives me. So that's what I want. And it's not
Well,
easy. It's not always easy.
I don't think it sounds naive at all. You in your answer, you move away from, it's not only about optimizing outcome and output. It's the full package of, in my language, of identity. Like,
Yeah.
who am I becoming? What effect does it have on the world around it? What do I bring forth? And finding that alignment in those things, and or between, and actually the alignment creates a holistic perspective on life, which is not the leader just like, what is the result of my decisions, but how do my decisions embody who I am becoming, and how is my behavior, how I show up in
Mhm.
alignment, that it actually supports my language when I communicate the decisions. So it is actually a it's the full package of being human,
Yeah.
and not just taking the responsibility. No, it is carrying what is all included in the responsibility.
Yeah, and it's effectiveness. It's understanding that effectiveness is not about how well you perform, how fast you are. Um, it is about what actually changes around me because of what I do and who I am.
It's the ripple effect
Yeah,
of you being you.
yeah. It's not
So
about being faster or better. It's about being
yeah.
there, showing up, and making a difference. Yeah.
So where does this authorship, that's the word that comes to mind, authorship. And we love to talk about authority,
Mm-hmm.
but we could do authority in the old-fashioned way, like you gave already example, when you were fully in control,
Mm-hmm.
then you exercise authority in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at authority connected to authorship, is where do I write the next chapter
Mm-hmm.
of my personal growth, of the business, for the lives of the people who are involved.
Yeah.
Where is that authorship under pressure when, and it's probably due to complexity, um, and how do we confuse that pressure with, or actually how do we separate that and not be confused that we think that we are being strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are actually just letting go our authorship as a leader.
Yeah. Well, I think what I observe is that authorship leaves leaders the moment that they start worrying about the perception of their decisions instead of about the decision itself. So, how is it perceived what I'm doing? They lose a lot of energy in what will people think if I take this decision instead of concentrating on what does my company need? What do my people need? What is important now to do? And complexity normally comes in as an excuse, to be honest. I know the world is complex, everything is complex, but my experience there, the two biggest excuses people come with, one is time and the other is difficult. It's not as easy as you think, Miriam, or as you say. And sometimes it's true that it is difficult, but very often it is a way um, to delay a choice or a decision. If I make it complicated, I do not need to decide now. I can take time to take in different perspectives and see. And sometimes it is just taking a lot of energy to shift the decision taking instead of just saying, okay, it is difficult. Yeah, and I don't have time, but I'm going to sit with it now and I take the decision and I take the consequences and I will be honest in my communication. So I, I, I think that is where leaders very often stop to lead.
Mm. Actually, that leads to the question that I hope to bring everything now together. It's actually
That's,
and putting the pressure on you. Like so,
yeah.
so what's the one question that disrupts someone's current narrative of
Mhm.
having an excuses? Because when people communicate an excuse, they can even validate it. But
Exactly.
the basic rule in our household is excuses are never valid.
Mhm.
They're still excuses. So what's that disruptive question that gets a leader out of, or letting go actually, their current narrative and shift
Mhm.
from reacting back to shaping the future, the environment, to have that positive effect
Mhm.
on others?
Well, in a conversation, um, very often it's not a question, it's silence and a smile. And the smile is not to make things comfortable, but to show that I'm really there for people and that I believe in them and that I believe that the answer is within them. Very often sitting in silence is making people uncomfortable, and they start to talk and they start to become real. If that doesn't
That's
work,
brutal.
it is, but it's very helpful. Yeah, it's a thing that you can train. Um, if it doesn't work, because it can be very uncomfortable, it can be too difficult, I very often ask, what is holding you back from doing what you already know is the right thing? And then you shift the conversation, because it's not talking about what is the right thing. Do I know the right thing? It is showing, is it assuming that people know what is the right thing? It's giving them back ownership about what they want to do. And my experience is that people very often know what is the right thing, but something is holding them back. And that something can be courage, it can be lack of permission, very often the case. It can be carrying something that makes it difficult to move. It can be anything, but something keeps people from doing what they actually know what is right, and giving them back that certainty of, hey, you know what is right. Tell me what it is and what is keeping you from doing it. Because that is, again, back to Morgenwerk, that is when you take the first step towards the future. Is when you decide, okay, I'm going to work towards my solution, and I already know what it is.
Yeah. So instead of verifying and validating their excuse, you 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 actually uh, take the bubble away. You know,
Yeah,
and instead of establishing their control, you give them the opportunity to take a step aside and get back into owning their
yeah,
decision.
exactly.
How can people connect with you and go deeper into your work and experience your silence?
Of course, LinkedIn, I think, is the best way to connect now in the business world. I'm on LinkedIn with my name, Miriam Herzberg. You find me there. I'm working on my website, but it's still under construction. And honestly, it might take another month, because I want to do it right. While telling it to you, I think, oh, this is my new question, Miriam. What is your next step you need to do? So it works for me all the time as well, this reflection. But yeah, it's easy to connect to me on LinkedIn. If you write me a message, I'll write you back within a day. You can find my telephone number and my email address on it as well. So yeah, get in touch with me. I love to have a coffee, virtual or in real life.
I'll make sure the details to connect with you are in the comments, so that people, when they watch the replay or listen to the podcast, it's already there, so they can connect with you.
Mhm.
So when tomorrow begins now,
Yeah,
what must a leader start today, and they act because they can't postpone it any longer?
yeah. So they need to have the conversation they've been avoiding. Everyone knows which conversation that is. Maybe it needs self-reflection to understand what is the conversation I'm avoiding, but that's what they need to do. And that takes a lot of courage. Maybe you need some steps before you can do it, but that's how tomorrow begins. It's starting the conversation.
Thank you for sharing all these small hidden gemstones that, like you just said, you know what it is. So what are the 3 things that you want to remember from our conversation
Mhm.
right now?
First of all, I think effectiveness beats ego. It means radical self-honesty. Look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Be kind as well, because if we make ourselves small, we will not have courage to take the next step. But that's the first thing. Be very honest with yourself. Find your courage. And courage is like a muscle. You can train it. Make little steps that scare you and find out, oh, it wasn't that bad. Actually, this feels really good. I've done something that I didn't think I could do or that scared me, and I've come through. And you can really train that. That is little steps on a daily basic. Uh, because courage doesn't mean you have no doubts. It means I have a lot of doubts, but I still do it. I'm just going for it. That's 2. And the third one is maybe like the first one. It's like leadership isn't about your image. Of course, we work on our image. I do as well. People need to see me and recognize me and things like that. But it isn't about that. It's about the impact I have on the world and you want to have on the world. So it's not the picture, it's actually the story.
Thank you for sharing them. And I want to highlight courage. And based on the example you gave earlier, courage is not certainty. Don't confuse it with certainty. It's not that your website is finished. It's not that you know the answer, that you can deal with any exception. Now, courage is that you know who you are, you know what you are carrying and what you want to bring forth, and the rest is an adventure you're open for to just fully engage
Yeah.
and own the journey. Thank you, Miriam, for sharing your personal story and all the examples. And I want to thank everyone who was with us all the way to the end. Thank you for tuning in. And I trust this conversation was real. It resonated with you, and probably it sparked something meaningful for your own journey. If it did, please share. It helps you to articulate your thinking, capture it, but also it helps other people in their own journey to recognize that you're not alone and it's an adventure. We love to reflect together with you, engage with you. And if you can't wait for another episode next week, I invite you to check out the A.L.T Dialogue, an exclusive peer dialogue for visionary leaders to pioneer and ponder these authentic leadership questions that emerge, we are dealing with, and actually by paying attention to them, shape our leadership for this future. So just connect and we will send you the details.